So I have with me now Dr. Al-Qahtani, the Director of the Research of Division at OPEC. Welcome to Bangalore. Key highlights of the Outlook 2045.
Thank you. The World Oil Outlook, WOO in short, is a very extensive, very rich document. It has a lot of valuable insight when it comes to the future of oil and gas energy complex at large between now and 2045. A key takeaway message that came out very clear, very blunt, confirming the messages that we've gathered in the years before, is that oil will remain dominant in the global energy mix for many decades to come. We don't see a peak demand when it comes to peak oil demand, an issue that they've asked us a lot about. We don't see that. In the contrary, we see only a tapering of the oil demand towards the year 2045. Another message is that oil will remain dominant, will command the first position when it comes to the energy mix, will still constitute north of 29% of the global energy mix, a very minor drop between now and then. Renewables will grow at a very high rate, but will remain to be around 11% of the global energy mix, despite the hype that we hear about the renewable energy sources going forward. The financing for oil and gas, or for oil, upstream, midstream, and downstream, will be north of $12 trillion. The bulk of that, around 9.5 trillion, will be in the oil. This is just to maintain the base case. If we are to demand more oil to cater for the economic growth that we see going forward, which is, we expect doubling of the global economy. And for us to cater to that global economic growth, we have to consume a lot of energy, and we have to use what we have for us to achieve what we want to achieve, attending to the social goals, the environment goals, all the developments that will happen in the global macro and global energy spheres between now and then. We talked also about the electrification of the transport sector. We see many electric vehicles, north of 500 million electric vehicles by 2045. That's a growth from a current figure of only 15 million vehicles now. That will demand a lot of resources, a lot of critical minerals, and a lot of infrastructure. But at the same time, when they talk about the sources of energy, it's quite beating around the bush when we transfer the emission to the power generation. It depends on what fuel you will be burning to produce those electric vehicles. But even with that enormous growth in electric vehicles between now and 2045, which is north of 3,300%, for us to see the 500 million vehicles between now and then, which will constitute only around 22% of the global transport fleet by that time. Even with that extraordinary high figure of north of 3,000% growth, we only see the figure of 500 or so million electric vehicles back then. So oil will be with us for many decades to come. We will require tremendous investments between now and then. All sources of energy will be required to lift a lot of people, hundreds of millions of people, out of the energy poverty. I need to highlight on the balanced, consistent debates. We need healthy debates. Unfortunately, we have seen the narrative around the energy transition hijacked by special groups. That's not healthy, and it has caused a lot of ill-advised policies to be commissioned in different parts of the world, literally prematurely pushing critical economies through that pipeline of energy transition without really having the basic ingredients into it, which is, we need all the sources, we need the financing, we need the good debates, and we need to consider that every country is created differently. So the national circumstances have to be present around the table. Energy affordability is another issue. Social development goals. Attending to all this cluster of factors all at once requires a lot of work, and unfortunately, certain debates pick up one of the three pillars that we would require going forward: energy, affordability, as well as sustainability. So addressing the sustainability relating to the climate change alone is not going to solve our issues. We need to talk about security. We need to talk about development too.
And we need to be more realistic.
That's true. Thank you.